when you set a car on fire, you should go to jail. You're a criminal.
Please don't vandalize, don't ever vandalize Tesla vehicles. And so,
all right, things are getting very serious as far as the Elon hate and the Tesla attacks. We even have politicians loving the fact that Tesla is falling apart. I will show you that later in the video. But today we will be going over all of the most recent meltdowns surrounding this topic, and it gets very intense. Now, before we start the video, please like the video. It's the #1 way you can help this channel, and it helps others see the videos as well. Let us begin.
Targeting Tesla owners, they're targeting Tesla dealerships, they're targeting Elon Musk, who is out there trying to save our country, and it will not be tolerated. We are coming after you, we will find you, and if you are an organized group who is funding this, we're going to find you too. You better look out and you better stop it.
Alright, so despite all of the attacks on Tesla car owners, Tesla dealerships in America and in Canada, I'll show you that later, the Tesla stock is still on an upward trend ever since Donald Trump helped out Elon Musk. However, there's a certain politician a lot of you guys know who would love to see this stock collapse.
On my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off.
I think that's quite sad, but I think Governor Walz unfortunately is living a sad existence after his devastating defeat on November 5th.
Alright, just in case you guys forgot, that was Tim Walz. He ran as the vice president with Kamala Harris, and just as I showed you guys already, Tesla is on a slow but upward trend. I also want to point out, you might not want this stock to crash as an American.
You're a criminal.
I'm talking about Tim Walz and his comments about the Tesla stock. He says it gives him a boost to see that stock going down.
That poor guy didn't check his portfolio and his own pension plan for state. It's beyond stupid what he did. He's talking down a 3.5% weighting in his own pension plan. I mean, what's the matter with that guy? He doesn't check the well-being of his own constituents in his state. I mean, that's their investment fund. Point, what a bozo.
Now, you can leave your comments and opinions down below how you feel about all of this, but I really haven't heard too many people bring up the fact that, look, if you want Tesla to fail in the stock market, you might actually be hurting a lot of other Americans who need the stocks to do well for their retirements and savings.
There's been all kinds of vandalism against Teslas and Tesla dealerships all over the country, you know, Las Vegas, Kansas City, Encinitas, Buffalo Grove, Littleton, Mass. I grew up right next to Littleton, Mass. Loveland, Colorado, Tigard, Oregon, all over the place.
The other night, Donald Trump said these are domestic terrorists. Everybody laughed about it and scoffed at it. That video looks like terrorism to me. I mean, it's obviously an organized, coordinated effort, however people are communicating with each other, to do this to people around the country who chose to buy a Tesla at some point in the past, many of whom I'm sure are Democrats who bought them in the first place, all because their entire political worldview is ruled by their emotions.
Now, there's a massive complication as far as these widespread strikes. Number one, it's very hard to isolate a specific area in the United States where you might be able to pinpoint or find where these protests are happening, if you want to call it a protest. And again, there really is no debate that all of this is happening because of the Elon Musk hate and people not liking how he's involved with the Trump administration and his actions with Doge. The other thing I want to point out is the threat also happens to individual Tesla owners, which people drive Teslas throughout the United States.
When you set a car on fire, you should go to jail. You're a criminal.
Any car,
I don't think we have to talk about it in any other
Tesla.
context. Yeah. And all those cars have cameras in them, and those dealerships have cameras. You're beyond being stupid when you do that. You're going to go to jail, and you now have a government that just got their mandate. They can't wait to find idiots that do this. You're going to spend 5 to 20 years in prison. If they get them on terrorism, which I think is a stretch, they will have no parole, no shortened sentence. They'll rot in hell in prison for 20 years. And frankly, as far as I'm concerned, that's okay. Breaking in, shooting a car, setting on fire, nothing to do with the politics, nothing to do with Tesla. You are a criminal. And you should go
the broader
to
question
jail.
Now, the Trump administration very recently just talked about these mandates as far as following through with prosecuting anyone who vandalizes a Tesla. Actually, as I make this video, my phone just popped up with a notification that a Tesla was vandalized in Syracuse, New York, to give you an idea of how frequent this is happening. Because, by the way, these Teslas have cameras in them, and it's very easy to report it and post it on the internet.
Across the country, Tesla cars are being lit on fire, dealerships are being shot up, Molotov cocktails are being used. There was a website posted yesterday that shared the addresses of private Tesla owners and reportedly had Kash Patel's information on it. AG Bondi has called this acts of domestic terrorism. Does the White House have any indication that this is some sort of coordinated movement or that it's being funded by some outside group? And do you know if the investigation by the DOJ is being investigated as incidents of organized terror?
I believe the Attorney General has made her comments clear on that. She is investigating these events as acts of domestic terror. We fully condemn them, and as I said earlier to Jackie's question, we think it's despicable what is happening to not just this American company, but also their innocent employees, and again, innocent Americans who drive these vehicles.
Now, to show you guys how much people dislike Elon Musk, here's a clip from everyone's favorite, Jimmy Kimmel.
Tesla stock is way down, almost disastrously so. People vandalizing Tesla vehicles, new Tesla vehicles. Please don't vandalize. Don't ever vandalize Tesla vehicles. And so,
Now, I do want to point something out. As I always do on this channel, I love to give you guys some statistics and some food for thought. Leave your opinions down below how you feel about this, considering California has the most Tesla drivers, which means it's very safe to say a lot of these Tesla drivers might happen to be Democrats, considering California is a very blue state, and a lot of Democrats used to love Elon Musk, especially for the whole environmental factor that Tesla provides to their customers, you know, that they're saving the environment. So I just want to point out, we know that a lot of Democrats are protesting Elon Musk and going after Tesla. This might actually backfire if you are a sole individual Democrat who has nothing to do with these protests and people are going after your Tesla. Just some food for thought.
And that's the American left right now. It is one angry mob after another willing to take things into their own hands, up to and including keying, firebombing, and otherwise vandalizing cars and car dealerships and charging stations. It's outrageous. It is terrible. People ought to be put in jail and left there for a very long time and be taught a lesson.
All right, so that was a dealership in Canada to give you an idea that this is really spreading beyond the United States. Now, I'm going to play you guys a clip from MSNBC. If you're not sitting down, you might want to sit down for this clip because I'm going to be honest with you, I really try not to be overly biased, but this clip is quite shocking to really downplay how some of these, what you might call protests, go a little too far, especially on the individual level of certain vehicles getting attacked.
There's something really remarkable happening right now. I'm not sure people have really quite gotten their arms around this. We are seeing this organic bottom-up movement against Musk's signature company, Tesla. Some activists just put up a website with a simple message, right? Sell your Teslas, dump your stock. And then an entire Tesla takedown movement has sprung up in response. They've got a map where all the protests are planned all across the country. It's been happening for about a month. This weekend alone, there are more than 100 protests planned at dealerships, Tesla dealerships across the country, from Brooklyn to Toledo, Dallas to Grand Rapids, Raleigh, dozens more. There are even, as you might see there, a handful planned in Canada and the UK. And I'm going to tell you something. I wager next weekend there will be even more, and the weekend after that more. Because this is growing every single day. And it's not Democratic leadership in Congress organizing the protests. It's just everyday folks who are fed up and want to make their voices heard. And it's having an insanely outsized effect. I mean, Tesla's sales are just cratering. The stock price has seen all of its post-election gains vanish. Musk's personal wealth has declined by more than $125 billion since the beginning of the year. That's because of this. And that's why Donald Trump had to turn the White House into a car lot this week and cut an ad for his co-president's fleet of vehicles. while the Attorney General of the United States effectively tried to threaten folks with jail time if they voiced their dissatisfaction with Musk's company.
If you're going to touch a Tesla, go to a dealership, do anything, you better watch out because we're coming after you.
Wow.
And
Well,
if you're funding this, we're coming after you. We're going to find out who you are.
If you go to a dealership? No. We've all got a First Amendment right to stand on a sidewalk with signs outside a dealership. Doesn't matter what Pine Bondi says. By all accounts, this is not being funded by some big funder. It's a grassroots movement. Some people are organizing. They're putting up a website. And at any rate, it doesn't seem like those scare tactics are working.
Now, I apologize for how long that clip was, but I really wanted to show you guys, or give you guys, a baseline as far as how MSNBC has been reporting this story. Again, there was really no notion or mention that some of these protests go way too far, especially on the individual level, but I also want to show you guys MSNBC has been rather consistent as far as going after Elon Musk, not only with Tesla, but also making fun of him for one of his rockets collapsing, falling apart, and landing safely in the ocean.
Elon Musk, on Thursday, a SpaceX Starship rocket exploded just minutes into its test flight.
Why did they let him put this rocket up in the air after they were still investigating the last explosion?
Well, see, this is the thing. Okay, yeah, that's probably why it exploded. But the thing to keep in mind is, my suggestion for Elon, his response to all of this was rockets are hard. And Mr. Musk, if they're so hard, why don't you go back to your day job and work that out and leave those of us who do government to do government? Because you can't do both. And clearly you're failing right now at both. Your rockets are blowing up and the government's blowing up. So I suggest you concentrate on the one thing you think you know more about and do that, and leave the rest to those of us who know a little bit of how to provide services to people who need them and make the government function. Not to say that it can't be changed. Yeah, there are changes that need to be made in government, just like there may be some changes you need to do with your rocket program.
So I just wanted to play you guys that clip as an example of what would happen if Elon Musk was not resilient. What if he actually took the advice of those MSNBC news anchors, as he said, you need to make revisions, go back to the drawing board, essentially throwing a little hate on Elon Musk. Well, let's just say he takes the advice, and now all of a sudden, what about the astronauts in space? Would he have been able to save those astronauts if he took the advice of the left-leaning media or other Democrats who are just completely, dogging on Elon Musk? Just some food for thought. Again, this is not the Elon Musk hype channel or the Tesla hype channel. I'm just trying to show you guys the full picture of, you have a lot of these talking points of absolutely hating on Elon Musk, but making no mention of the success of saving the astronauts with a successful space program.
Yeah, I mean, it's really come as quite a shock to me that there's this level of really hatred and violence from the left. I always thought the left, or Democrats, were supposed to be the party of empathy, the party of caring, and yet they're burning down cars, they're firebombing dealerships, they're firing bullets into dealerships, they're just smashing up Teslas. Tesla is a peaceful company. We've never done anything harmful. I've never done anything harmful. I've only done productive things. So I think we just have a deranged. There's some kind of mental illness thing going on here, because this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
and I think there are larger forces at work as well. I mean, I don't know who's funding it and who's coordinating it, because this is crazy. I've never seen anything like this.
Now, as far as who is funding these protests, we have still yet to see some very solid evidence. There are some names being thrown out there as far as who does fund Democrat protest here and there. But as far as these specific dealership protests and going after individual Teslas, we don't have solid evidence. In fact, the Trump administration, I think, is trying to keep it a little hush-hush, considering there is a current investigation on these protests. So they couldn't make everything that public to begin with.
But I am truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with, on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes.
Now, what we are seeing is a way more public outcry as far as these protests if you are a member of government, especially on the left-leaning side of things, or a Democrat, really. One thing I do want to point out is what we've been seeing so far is if you are a member of government and you are boots on the ground, it is typically a more peaceful protest, just some signs. They have nothing really to do so far, you know, like with these more heinous actions. I just want to put that out there or point that out. But again, the question is, do we know who's funding these protests? Will that come out eventually? We'll just have to wait and see because the investigation is currently going on right now. All right, so if you are still watching this video, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for everything. Thank you for being involved in the comments and joining the discussion. I really appreciate it. God bless, and we'll see you guys later.